Either way, today we're gonna do something that no one asked for. Uh, but I really want to get good at reactions because I don't feel like I do good at like reacting videos. But we're gonna try to today. And I found something. I was watching a random video that popped up on my feed talking about etiquette in like America, and I went, "We have etiquette." I was so confused. I think I watched like 5 seconds of it, and I was like, "There's no way." So I'm gonna take you guys with me, and I'm gonna explain if I think it's true or if it's not true. Or slash, I want you guys to tell me if like you've experienced that if you've been here. And another thing, I also realized why I thought this video might be fun to do with you guys is, well, if I look at my graphs or my demographics, I have a lot of like Americans watch my shorts or my TikToks. However, the most people that watch me live are non-Americans. And then there's also a few Americans with terrible sleep schedules in here, so that's kind of what we're going to be going for. And I just want to see if you guys also agree with one of the things that are said in the etiquette or not. If you're like, I've never seen that, and if I've never seen that, it should be fun. It should be fun.
So our parents teach us to be polite, but what you learned as a kid doesn't always apply when you're in another part of the world. So if you're heading to the US anytime soon, I've got some tips for you on what we Americans consider the rules of etiquette and some stuff that's totally okay in the US that other countries might consider rude.
I know there's a lot of things
Let's
that we
start off
do
with my
that a
favorite,
lot of people don't like.
Food etiquette. Number 1. Feel free to ask for some condiments. If you're eating out and your food is tasting a little bland, it's completely fine to ask for salt, pepper, or sauces to add a little zing to your meal. I know some places in Europe see it as an insult to the chef if you start adding a little spice of your own. But don't worry about that in the US. Nobody's going to be offended or give you weird looks if you ask the waiter for a bottle of ketchup. Even if you're at someone's house visiting, they won't see it as a jab to their culinary skills either. Some just like it spicier than others.
I hate that they use like pepper as spice, by the way. That's so messed up. I don't know. When I visited abroad, I don't know if it's just because they were used to American tourists. I think they didn't have any problem. Like they would ask if we wanted condiments whenever I was like at a restaurant. So I never really understood that. I don't know if this is still common in other countries, but like, yeah, in America, like it's very normal. A lot of places literally have condiments on the table, and they actually expect you to change how the food tastes, or they'll ask you what they want with it, or just dipping sauces and all that stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if it's different in other places. Also, when I traveled, I never really asked for condiments or anything like that, unless it was like for fries or chips in the UK. I never really did that, so. But yeah, like in Italy, I never asked for condiments. I just kind of wanted to try the food how it was made, unless it was something I've already had before, I guess.
Number 2. Always tip. Okay, well, maybe not always, but it's a rare occurrence if you don't tip your waiter, hairdresser, cab driver, and so on, and only if the service was really awful. But even then, a lot of Americans feel guilty about not leaving any tip. The rule is 15 to 20% of the bill. So get ready to do some mental math each time you eat out. I've heard that tipping isn't a thing in some countries, especially in East Asia, where restaurant staff always provide good service no matter what. But in the US, it's simply a sign of gratitude that your waiter did a good job, even though they're probably tired, their feet hurt, and they've got a bunch of other tables to tend to.
So, yeah, tipping is common. It's actually becoming less common. It depends where you are. So if you're in like bigger cities, they actually have like a thing called gratuity, which means they already add the tip into the total. So it's like a gratuity is like a cleanup after, or like the waiter service. And then you can add an extra tip that goes specifically to the server if you would like to. But usually people who go to places with gratuity tips don't tip unless they really, really like the server. Gratuity tips also go to the whole staff rather than just one server. So it's weird. You find it stupid though, forced tipping? technically you don't have to tip. It has been ingrained that we do kind of feel a little bit guilty if we don't tip, but it comes from workforce. So they found out that when tipping started becoming popular, that people on minimum wage would make a crap ton of money on tipping. So to counteract that, they gave like waiters a really, really low minimum wage. So minimum wage in some like states is like $7.99 or something an hour. I think it's now up to like 10 something an hour in some states now. It depends where you are, of course. But for waiters, it's about $2 to $3 an hour. So basically their whole living is on tips. You not tipping them is basically saying good luck on your rent. Good luck on paying bills. Like, it's a big middle finger to them because most of the time they work double shifts and do all that stuff. So it's really bad. Now, McDonald's employee, a McDonald's server, no, they get paid better wages. I'm talking like full restaurant servers. So like sit down restaurants, not fast food. Fast food, they get paid minimum wage. Tips are bullcrap. It's shared between all of them. I personally, I'm a terrible American. I don't tip at like fast food restaurants. I especially don't tip if I have to order from a machine. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna tip this. So like the tipping culture has changed a little bit. We definitely tip mostly more when it comes to sit down places. Just because they're actually putting extra work, and especially tip if you're being a big party. So if your party is like over than 6 people and they have to bring a lot of food and you have kids or whatever, it's really seen as being generous, giving them a bigger tip because they have to handle all that food, make sure all the food's like in the timely manner and like, you know, their job, but you're giving them like a harder task. And if you ever worked in like that type of like industry, it's super, super hard sometimes. And yeah, not getting a tip for the day. Some people who only get $20 plus on top of the $2 of hourly wage, they ain't making much. And so it really just depends. I'm used to getting UK customers. I understand why they don't tip. Yeah, a lot of people in America, they understand if you're not from here, you might not tip. If you ever worked in the industry, at least here in America, there's a lot of competition for who gets what or what they don't want. So if they know like a UK couple is coming in, majority of the time they'll do rock, paper, scissors as they don't want to serve you because they know you won't tip. And that's like a waste of like, I don't want to say a waste of their time. That's rude to say, but it's more of like you are basically like, again, you're robbing them of their rent, their electricity bill and all that stuff. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I think tipping culture should just be a thank you for doing a great service. Thank you for being nice. I've had some really great servers that were really talkative, really persuasive. Like they were fantastic. And yeah, we tipped them extra. But just waiters that are just like doing their job, I feel like they should earn minimum wage. And like tips should be just like, hey, but it's, yeah.
Number 3, clean up after yourself at fast food restaurants.
Mm.
Of course, if you're going to the States, I imagine a lot of your eating out will be done in fast food joints. You'll see a lot more of those than your traditional sit and be served by a waiter types of places. But anyways, if you're finished eating and your tray is now full of wrappers, used napkins, and empty boxes, take it to the trash can and dispose of the garbage yourself. Most fast food places don't have a separate cleaning staff for that. It's pretty much always the cashier that needs to find time between ringing people up to go clean up the dining area. So we try to help them out a bit and clean up after ourselves.
Yeah, this blew me away when I visited Italy because I was at a KFC and I finished like eating and I went to, you know, throw away the stuff and I had the hardest time finding a trash can and noticed that no one else was cleaning up after themselves and I felt so inclined to do it because I was like, what do you mean you're not doing it? It bothers me. It's a huge thing here. Cleaning up after yourself. I'll even clean up my table at sit-down restaurants too. Because, I don't know. It's a lot. People like have to clean tables and get ready for the new people. And if it's a super messy table or you leave it in a mess, like it takes them longer. So yeah, I don't know how many other countries have this as well. But I noticed when I was like in Italy, they don't really do this. They kind of just expect the staff to clean it. Of course, in America, you can still just leave it there. Technically, there's no law that states that you have to do this, and there's no signs either that state you have to do it, but a lot of them do. So it's also kind of like a similar thing of like, if you take a cart at a grocery store, you put the cart away afterwards. It's kind of like that same principle. If you use it, put it away. you know? I think we also were taught that from like birth or like in our elementary schools, that if you use like toys or crayons or whatever, you are the one that puts it away. You don't just leave it there and hope someone else puts it away. So I think that's kind of like where that came from. At least that'd be my guess. I don't know if you guys also went through that in like elementary. Like if you grabbed something, you were the one that put it away, or do you teachers put it away for you? But a lot of us learned that you have to clean up after yourself. And a lot of us, well, not all of us do it. A lot of people leave their stuff around or the trash around. It just kind of depends where you are.
Number 4, open gifts immediately in front of the giver. Now, I was pretty surprised when I found out that opening a gift as soon as you get it is considered bad manners in certain parts of the world.
Is it?
I guess some cultures see it as kind of greedy when you start tearing into a present right away. In the US, it's pretty much the opposite. Open it as soon as you get it, right in front of the giver. That way, they can see your reaction and you can thank them right there on the spot. There are also no rules about using both hands or a certain hand when giving or receiving a gift.
I know about this
Just
one.
grab it and open it already. Number 5.
I'm always surprised. I'm very surprised to hear that, actually. What do you mean? I mean, like at a birthday party, there's usually a section of watching them open like presents. But at a restaurant, it makes sense not to open the present. Usually it's asked by the person being given the present. At least in my experience, like if I got it, I'd be like, oh, well, if they say, hey, wait to open it at home, or I'd ask like, hey, can I open it now? Or do you want me to open it later? Like I usually ask. But I guess I have met people that have opened it like without even asking. I don't know, maybe that's just maybe from originally where I was from. We were trained like to ask, you know, like, can I open it now? Unless it was like your birthday party, you were allowed to open it right then and there. Or you had to wait to open it for when opening gifts was acceptable. But it was weird. It's weird that it's offensive. At least from my standpoint. I guess it's understandable though that you don't want to be there. I think we also have a thing of like capitalism. A lot of people will buy something for someone, and if they don't like it, we'll give them the receipt so they can return it and get it like in their size or something different. Or if they already have the same thing, they can return it and get something else as well. We also like seeing the reaction. We like making, I don't know. We like knowing that the people we give the gifts to are happy, and so we kind of want to be there to enjoy the moment with them. So I don't know if that's also shared. So it is rude. That's very, it isn't offensive. It is more if you are pushing on the priority of the president, rather than the people. Okay, so that makes more sense. Yeah, I feel like if you're at like a restaurant and someone gives you a present, you say thank you, and you kind of just push it off to the side and maybe open it later. I definitely think it's more about enjoying it then. So I guess I can definitely see where you're coming from, and I feel like that's all be bad. I'm only
5.
one.
Be ready for small talk.
Oh yeah.
How about that game last night? Whew, when's this weather gonna let up already? Yes, Americans love small talk, so don't be surprised if a stranger just starts chatting with you while you're waiting in line or sharing an elevator. It could be sports, the weather, traffic, anything just to have a short, light conversation. I can't really say why we like talking to people we don't even know, but I mean, if you're sharing a space with someone, are you just going to totally ignore their presence? That'd be awkward. Oh yeah, and you'll get asked how you're doing a lot, even by strangers. It's usually waiters and cashiers that'll greet you with a, "Hi, how are you today?" Just answer with "Fine, and you?" Even if you're not exactly having a fantastic day.
I think, yeah. I think that's common. I think I see a lot of people say like, why do Americans always have small talk? Why? And it's just, we're supposed to do that. We have a lot of things called icebreakers and stuff. Like we force people to talk to each other all the goddamn time. It's nuts. Especially if you see someone like wearing a jersey in the same town, people are gonna be like, who's your favorite player? Who's this? I've done it before on trains. If I saw someone wearing something or like a band, I'm like, oh my god, I was also there. Or like, what's your favorite song? I think this is what gets us like the reputation that we're fake. I think as of all the small talk or being nice and genuinely talking to people in random situations and all the smiling, we get called fake a lot. But it's like, we just want to have a pleasant time talking to others and just have a pleasant experience, I guess. Try to at least maybe make someone have a good day or us have a good day, I don't know, like we're not necessarily trying to become friends automatically. Like it can turn into a friendship, 100%. But it's more of like, I just want to say hi. I just want to get to know you maybe a little bit. I may never meet you again, but you know what? You were cool to meet. You were cool to like introduce into my life for a second, you know, for a little bit. And thank you for like sharing similarities. I'm glad we're together. You know, maybe we'll meet again. And worst case, if people are really, really like connect, vibe like right off the bat, then yeah, they become friends. Yeah, they go do hang out and stuff together. Like we're not being fake. We're just trying to have a pleasant experience, I guess, with each other. It's so weird.
Number 6. Expect a lot of smiles. First of all,
Of course.
let me bust the myth that Americans constantly walk around smiling ear to ear. Nobody does that, because that'd be weird. But again, if you're sharing a space and making small talk with a stranger, or maybe someone opens or holds the door for you, they'll smile at you, and it's polite if you do the same. Cashiers and waiters also greet you with a big friendly smile. I read somewhere that this goes back to our early history as a country built by people who all spoke different languages. They didn't understand each other all that well, so they just smiled. But I still think we just like to be open and kind. Number 7.
I was told that that's weird. Lamau, I don't understand you, so I'm just smiling at you. That's literally what we do. If we don't understand you or anything like that, we will literally just smile and nod. I'm not kidding. It's so hard. And then when we realize you actually are trying to ask a question or you get confused, then we're like, oh shit. The majority of the time we do it to each other. Even if like we both speak perfect English, if we can't hear you, we'll just smile and nod. Like it's insane. It just makes you more approachable. And I think that's kind of like how we are as well. We were just doing just be nice, you know? We want also people to smile back at us. So usually if you give someone a smile and they are paying attention, they usually smile back. It's kind of nice. It's nice to get a smile every now and then. I know, I've heard, yeah, when I was in the UK, no one was smiling. I was like, bro, this place depressing. It was crying.
Respect the bubble.
Bubble?
Now, here's a pretty funny thing about Americans. We're friendly, we love to chat, but we also really like our personal bubble. The unspoken rule is to stand about an arm's length away when you're talking with someone. We're also not too big on touching during conversation, because this can be misconstrued as a way of flirting. Of course, the rule doesn't apply with close friends and family, but still, even then, most Americans aren't too touchy-feely.
That's so true. I hate being touched randomly in public. We have packed trains and all that stuff, but like, if I meet someone new, the closest they can to touch me is like my arms. I will say, the one exception outside this rule is like the elderly. The elderly will commonly like pat your arm, pat your shoulder. And this is usually like an elder man or an elder woman. They will do that. Like they'll pat your hands if you're talking to them or you have a nice conversation with them. In fact, it's kind of, I don't want to say common, but it's not uncommon for you to like, if you sit down with like an elderly person at a coffee shop and strike a conversation with them, like they might hold your hand, they might pat you and all this stuff. It's actually really cute. It can be a little creepy sometimes, but like it's back and forth. It really depends. But the elderly is like the only ones I've ever had weird issues of them touching. But they only touch like your shoulders, your arms. It's really weird. We all have a big bubble, and depending where you're from is how big your bubble is. Like if you're from a city, your bubble is still there, but it's not as common, like it's not as big. But if you're from like the countryside or from a farm, your bubble's ginormous. There's like a phenomenon that happens that people that are born in like farms or like smaller cities that go to big cities, you'll notice the distance they have between people is bigger than like city folk. So it's very wonky. But we do have like a weird bubble. And I never understood when people would say like, oh, Americans are so touchy-feely, so touchy that. I'm like, I don't want to be touched at all. Like, like, what do you mean? We don't give kisses on people's face. Like, if they're friendly, like, if we're friends, yeah, we can be really clingy, we can be really touchy, we can be really all that fun jazz. But if, like, we don't know you, well, like, the problem, it's like a back and forth. Like, if we don't know you, we don't want to be touched. But if we become friends in, like, 5 minutes, then we might become touchy. But it just depends, like, how close we feel. But usually it's like, don't touch me. I don't want to be touched. It's very, very wonky. So I don't know if you guys have noticed that, or if you came to America, you noticed a bubble. I really don't know. I imagine like other countries are also like friends in 5 minutes. Dude, I made a friend in 1 sentence. Literally, I made a joke, they made a joke, instantly we were friends. And we became like, we started hugging and we were like hanging out all the goddamn time. It was just that easy. It's like literally held hands, we just walked around. It was nuts. So I don't like 5 minutes is, it just depends, I guess, really, if you just click. But you guys have probably experienced that, right? You made a friend like instant. You've ever made a friend instantly? That's crazy. No way. Like in games, you know, even like if you're playing like a video game and someone saves you, you're like, we're friends now. I would die for you. Like, what do you mean?
Number 8.
That'd be a
And
gaming acquaintance? You're
definitely
crazy.
No kissing. I know in countries
no
like
kiss.
Spain and France, people often greet each other with a peck or two on the cheek. There might be some Americans who greet the European way, but overall, we don't kiss each other as a way to say hi. Again, my personal bubble is my sanctuary, so don't come in it with puckered lips ablazing. Mwah, mwah, mwah. It's best to just say hi, smile, and keep it at that.
And like some of us like it, I don't mind it now. But when it first happened to me, I was like, huh? I was literally in a daze. I was like, what just happened to me? What did you just do to me? I don't mind, we're friends, but like what just happened? Like I generally had to like think about it. Yeah, kisses are only for like, if you're friends already, I guess. It depends on where you're from. There's some things like some friend groups like will kiss each other in the cheek or all that stuff. Like they don't mind it. Or of course only for romantic partners. It's really weird. So it kind of just depends. But yeah, for me, I was like, what the heck? So it's only certain, my friends, usually my foreign friends will do it. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. But any of my American friends that try to do it, I'm like, bro, what happened? Yeah, it's 100% more a female friendship thing. I've only had it done with, I lied. I've only had it with female friends and gay friends that have done it.
Number 9. Being loud is usually okay. The stereotype of the loud American tourist might ring true most of the time, since we tend to project our voices, even out in public. It's not that we're yelling all the time, but I'd say we certainly speak louder than people in Europe or Asia. I've gotten some friendly reminder to take it down a few decibels when visiting my friends abroad. But hey, if you're ever in the States, feel free to laugh out loud or get particularly animated while telling a joke. But of course, there's a time and place for that. You still have to hush down in places like libraries. Shh.
Yeah, we're loud. Now, there's like reasons why we're loud. I'm not trying to say like, you should forgive us for it. No, there's like reasons. You don't have to forgive us. You can tell us to shut up. But like American, like in schooling, we are told we're not supposed to mumble or speak in regular. We are told to project constantly. I think that's like, I don't know if you guys during presentations, you had to project. Our classes are usually 30 plus people. And in college, you have over 100 people. And I'm guessing you guys have similar things, but for us, like projecting is so common, that's what you have to do. Also, if you ever like eat in a restaurant in America and you try to speak in a like not as loud voice in like a European normal way talking, you will not hear your partner. You will not hear your friend who is talking to you. I promise you. Eating at any restaurant in America, if you are not loud, you will not hear them because everyone else will be loud. In fact, the weird thing is like it's so loud in America, unless you fully tone in, you won't hear anyone else. We're all just like tone deaf to like all the loud noises that's happening in America. So usually we don't even hear conversations that other people are having. Unless you are specifically bored and you really want to hear it. So yeah, it's no shade. If everyone's yelling, then you got to yell too. And I think that's like a big thing. But the problem is you get so used to that, of everything being so loud, to everyone yelling, to everyone all that stuff being animated when they talk, to being really expressive in how they talk. Of like, if you get excited, we get excited. It's not be like, you know, we're like, oh yeah, like we're jumping off the walls. We're like screaming out. Like if it's your birthday, let me tell you, people will know it's your birthday. Like we're very celebratory people. So like we're very like, I don't know, hyper. So for us, like we forget what quiet sounds like on like a day-to-day basis.
10. Indirectness is politeness. So here's the thing about Americans. A direct, no, I don't want or like that is seen as pretty rude. But if an American gives you a polite, no thanks, I'd rather not, or I don't think that's the best idea. That doesn't mean that they're on the fence about it. No means no, even if it's said indirectly and super politely. It's frowned upon to try and convince someone to do something or change their mind because it's seen as pushy and disrespectful to their wishes. Number
Bro, that's so true. One of my friends was telling me that like they said no, but they said like no, I'd prefer not. Like they were really polite about it, and then the person, I think I can't remember which country they're from, just went ahead and did it, and he was like, you weren't direct enough in your no, and I was like, no is no, bitch. Like I got so upset. I was like, who cares if I said no politely? It's called being nice, okay? Like that's so dumb. I was so upset. No means fucking no. Even here. But yeah, no, it's weird. I've had friends, or like when I was one of my friends is like from Singapore, they're very direct and with their English, and like it threw me off for like 5 minutes from how direct she was. I got over it pretty fast because I was like, whatever. But this isn't the first time I've had to deal with direct people, but it was still like, whoa, you know? It doesn't change how I'm gonna react though. But yeah, we're very like, if you're direct, it just puts us off for a second. Depending how you say it, especially the tone of how direct you are, can start fights. Sadly, it's not common. If you're just direct, like, no, I don't want that, they'd be like, fine, you know? But if like you are disgusted when you say it or something, you could probably piss some people off. Which is so funny, and how it goes.
Number 11. Sit in the back seat of a cab. Now this is something interesting I found out about Australia and New Zealand. There, it's considered rude to take the back seat of a cab.
Really?
Because it's almost like you're showing that you expect to be chauffeured by someone who's lower than you.
What?
Well, don't worry about that in the US. In fact, you should ride in the back seat because the driver might give you a weird look otherwise. It's not an elitist thing, and you can still make friendly small talk from the back. Just respect the driver's personal bubble, that's all.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, you're supposed to sit in the back. I mean, technically calling an Uber is like getting a chauffeur. Technically. The only reason you sit in the front is if the back seat's full. That's the only reason you're gonna sit in the front. Is if you either have too much luggage or the back seat is full. It's very weird. A lot of drivers will actually like go sit in the back. They will yell at you. Or especially if you're getting like a giant like a bus or a minivan and like, you know, the whole van's taken up. Usually they still won't let you to sit in the front. Or they only allow it if like you fill it up all, like it's filled up all the way. Like they're very like, don't touch me. Don't be anywhere near me. I don't want to look at you. You know? It's kind of like a safety thing for the drivers actually. So like their car doesn't get hijacked. Like it's easier to deal with people in the back seat rather than the front seat. It's just kind of weird. Yeah, it depends on Ubers.
Number 12. Feel free to keep your shoes on inside.
I'm gonna stop right there. That is not always true. You can. It depends on the household. It depends where you live. If you want to live in like a winter country, yeah, you're probably taking it off right at the door or outside. And if you live in a summer country, they may not care. It kind of, not country, state. Oh my gosh. If you live in a winter state, you take it off pretty fast. You don't want to track winter or snow or mud through the house. But if you live in a summer state, it's back and forth. So, but this isn't always true.
A friend from Russia recently asked me, why is it that in all American movies, people are walking around their house with their shoes on? And I just told him straight up, because that's what we do. Now, there are plenty of families here that don't have a no shoes indoors policy, although I'd say the majority don't. So here's a good rule of etiquette to live by if you ever visit an American's home. When you walk in, ask if you should take your shoes off at the door.
Exactly.
If they say, nah, you're okay, don't feel bad about walking around their house in your shoes. I know it seems bizarre to most people around the world, but it's a-okay here. It's okay to keep it casual. Overall, I'd say the biggest thing about Americans is that most of us are pretty casual and laid back. If you're ever out and about in the US, you'll see a lot of people running errands in sweatpants, gym shorts, baseball caps, and even their PJs. But it's not just about clothes either. We often keep it on a first-name basis, even with people that are generally referred to more formally in other countries. For example, most of the time your boss is just Jim or Janet. not Mr. or Mrs. Jones. You might start off more formally, but I guarantee you that that person will say right off the bat, "Hey, call me Jim." Now, what would be weird is if their name isn't Jim. Maybe it's Howard or Benny. Then what you say is, "Hey, call me a cab." So, are any of
That was such a bad joke. The only people you call Mr. and Mrs. usually is like teachers. Weirdly, at least from my experience, if I ever meet an old teacher, I still call her like Miss or Mr. I never use their first name, but at like my boss, I know the first name. I call him that first name. Like, I don't care. Having to dress up nice to go outside, and I mean by nice, I mean like I can't wear leggings. I can't wear gym clothes outside to go shopping. Like, people give you weird looks. In America, if you wake up and you're like, "Oh shit, I need to get like this one ingredient," you can literally go in your PJs and no one's gonna bat an eye, dude. Everyone's gonna be like, whatever. If you show up in like wearing workout clothes, you go work out, you go shopping, you go do other things, go to an arcade, no one's gonna care. Literally, it's just like, it's so nice. I like when I traveled abroad, like if I wasn't wearing something like semi-nice, they'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, I'm just wearing clothes." They're like, "No, you're not. You're wearing like PJs." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm wearing leggings. Like, or, oh my God, what blew my mind? They're like, "Oh, you know who you can tell who the Americans are." And I was like, "How?" Like, do you, like the person wearing booty shorts over there? And I looked over and I was like, "I don't see any booty shorts." They're like, "They're right there." And I looked again. I was like, "What booty shorts? Dude, seriously, where are the booty shorts?" And they're like, they literally had to point them out to me and take a picture. And I was like, "Those are just normal shorts." I was like, "That's nowhere near close booty shorts, dude." Their ass perfectly covered. There was no booty to be seen. What do you mean? You can see their thighs, God forbid, but you couldn't see like their booty at all. I was like, "What do you mean those are booty shorts? Those are normal booty shorts. What's wrong with you?" I was like, "If you want to see booty shorts, you should just go to LA." You want to see booty shorts? You see like American weather in the summer. Then you'll see booty shorts. And it's not going to be that, dude. If that's what shocks you, let me tell you, you're going to get a bigger shock. Because that, like, I couldn't tell that they were Americans at all. It's so bad.